take it! Watch your flank!
What is a grease-covered biker doing on my mat? You smell like a gas station. Wendell Pickett kept walking. His boots made no sound on the wooden floor. He stopped at the edge of the ring. He looked the man in the eye. I am here about my son. You owe that boy an answer. Trent Whitlock turned to his class, 14 students, all watching, all waiting for the show. Soft kid. Could not hold a plank for 10 seconds. Cried like a baby on day one. What are you going to do, biker? Punch me with your road rash hands? You are going to wish you had not done what you did, Wendell said. Calm, quiet, the voice of a man who had already decided. Trent's smile slipped for half a second. A 47-year-old man in a worn leather vest had just talked back, in his dojo, in front of his students. Trent's face went hot. He walked over to the front counter. He pulled the drawer open with a bang. He grabbed a stack of cash. $20,000. Bricks of hundreds wrapped in red rubber bands. He stomped back across the mat. He threw the money straight at Wendell's chest. The bills hit and scattered across the floor like dead leaves blown by a storm. Pick it up. Hit me one time. Anywhere. 20 grand cash. Easy money for a man who sleeps in a parking lot. Wendell did not pick up the money. He did not look down. He set his keys on a folding chair. He took off his vest and folded it once. He laid it across the chair like he was setting down a Bible. His left boot slid back 6 inches. His right hand opened. His chin tucked. His weight dropped low. His breathing slowed. In the office doorway stood Howard Briggs, head trainer, 24 years in martial arts. He had been leaning on the doorframe with a cup of coffee. The coffee cup hit the floor. He did not pick it up. He took 2 fast steps onto the mat. His face had gone the color of old paper. Trent, stop right now. Step back. But it was too late. What Howard saw in that stance erased every joke Trent had ever told. What Howard knew about Wendell Pickett would shake the whole town of Pritchard, Alabama, the man in the leather vest, the single father, the quiet biker who fixed church mailboxes for free on Saturdays. He was about to remind one cruel man exactly what mercy looked like and exactly how much it could cost when you forgot it existed. Pritchard, Alabama, sits 8 miles north of Mobile. Pine trees lean over the back roads. Old white churches hold Sunday service for 15 folks. The Piggly Wiggly closed 2 years ago and never reopened. Now people drive 40 minutes to buy groceries. The high school has cracks in the parking lot you could lose a quarter in. The town has been hurting for a long time. But the people are kind. The people look out for each other. This is where Wendell Pickett lives, 47 years old, 6 feet tall, hands like worn leather, shoulders that have carried more than most folks see in a whole lifetime. He wears a leather vest with 2 patches sewn on the back. One patch says Iron Cross Riders. The other patch says Loving Father. He keeps his beard trimmed short and gray at the edges. He wears reading glasses he loses 3 times a day. Every Sunday morning, he rides his old Harley Softail to Pleasant Hill Baptist Church. After service, he stays late and fixes whatever is broken. The leaky sink in the kitchen, the rotted step at the back door, the busted fan in the choir room. He never asks for money. He never asks for a thank you. He just shows up with his tool bag and gets to work. If you saw him filling up his bike at the marathon station on Highway 45, you might step a little to the side. Big man, vest, beard, tattoos on both arms. You might guess wrong about him. That is the thing about Wendell Pickett. Most folks guess wrong. They have been guessing wrong for 15 years, and that is exactly the way he likes it. But 15 years ago, Wendell Pickett was not a quiet biker who fixed church sinks for free. He was Sergeant First Class Wendell Pickett, United States Marine Corps, lead combat instructor at the Marine Corps Martial Arts Center of Excellence in Quantico, Virginia. The man who taught hand-to-hand combat to the men who taught hand-to-hand combat to everybody else. He held a 6th-degree black belt in the Marine Corps Martial Arts program. They call it MAC-MAP. He was the 2007 Armed Forces Heavyweight Champion. He fought 22 sanctioned bouts in his career. He never lost a single one. Stars and Stripes magazine called him the quietest fighter in the United States military. The article said his face never changed. Not when he won, not when he got hit, not when he stood on the podium. Just calm eyes and a small nod. He retired in 2011. His wife Loretta had been fighting breast cancer for 2 years. He came home. He took care of her. She died on a Wednesday morning in March. Their son Bertie was 8 months old. Wendell folded his uniform that same week. He put his black belt in a small wooden box his father had built him by hand. He closed the box. He set it on the top shelf of the bedroom closet. He never opened it again. He took a job at the loading dock at the lumber yard on Tennyson Avenue. He started riding with the Iron Cross Riders, a small Christian biker club that hauls food to families in need and patches up old folks' homes for free. He raised Bertie alone. Bertie Pickett is 10 years old now. Quiet kid, tall for his age but skinny. Big brown eyes that look at the world like he is trying real hard to understand it. He loves dinosaurs. He loves Saturday morning bike rides with his daddy. He loves the way the Alabama sky turns orange right before the sun drops behind the pines. He has also been bullied at school for 2 years straight. Boys in his grade call him soft. They knock his lunch tray. They wait for him by the back gate. Bertie comes home and pretends nothing happened. But Wendell sees it. A father sees everything. The boy's shoulders have started to curl forward when he walks. The boy stopped raising his hand in class. The boy started flinching when somebody moved too fast near him. One Tuesday night in late August, Bertie sat at the kitchen table with a bowl of grits going cold in front of him. He had not eaten. He looked at his daddy with those big brown eyes. He said the words that changed everything. "Daddy, I want to learn how to defend myself. Not to hurt anybody. Just so I am not scared all the time." Wendell stared at his son for a long time. He did not say a word. He got up from the table. He walked out the back screen door. He stood on the porch in the warm night air. Crickets were loud in the yard. He looked up at the stars over Mobile County. He thought about the wooden box on the top shelf of the closet. He thought about every single reason he had stopped fighting. He thought about Loretta in her hospital bed, asking him to promise her that he would never let their boy grow up afraid. He came back inside. He sat down across from Bertie. He took his son's small hand in his big calloused one. He said, "Okay, son, okay, we are going to find you a place." Wendell pulled $320 out of the coffee can in the cabinet over the fridge. He picked up 2 extra weekend shifts at the lumber yard. He searched online for the best dojo within a 40-mile drive of Pritchard. The first website that came up was Whitlock Combat Academy. Slick photos, trophies in glass cases. A man in a black gi standing with his arms crossed and a sentence in big white letters across the picture. "We build warriors. We do not babysit." Wendell signed Bertie up over the phone. $400 for the first month. He covered the gap with money he had been saving for new tires on his truck. He told himself the tires could wait. His son could not. He drove Bertie to the dojo on a Wednesday afternoon. He parked the truck out front. He walked Bertie up to the glass door. He kneeled down on the hot sidewalk. He fixed the strap on Bertie's gym bag. He said, "You are brave, son. You are brave for asking. Now you go in there and you learn what you came to learn. I will be right here when you are done." Bertie nodded. His chin trembled a little, but he held his head up. He walked through that glass door with his shoulders back. Wendell sat in his truck for 30 minutes before driving home. He did not go inside. He could not. He knew what gym smelled like. He knew what mirrored walls felt like at his back. He had buried that man 15 years ago. He was not going to dig him back up, not for anything in this world. For 9 days, Bertie came home glowing. He shadowboxed in the living room. He practiced stances by the mailbox. He told his daddy about something called a front kick at every single dinner. Wendell smiled and asked questions and listened. He had not seen his son smile like that since before 2nd grade. He thanked God every night for whoever was teaching that boy at Whitlock Combat Academy. Then came the 10th day, a Thursday, 4:18 in the afternoon. Wendell was washing dishes at the kitchen sink when he heard tires on the gravel. Driveway, wrong tires. Not the Dojo van that usually dropped Bertie off at 5:15 sharp. He walked to the front window. It was the Dojo van, but Bertie was already climbing out. The gym bag was still zipped, head down. The van pulled away fast, before Wendell could even open the door to wave. Bertie walked up the porch steps, slow, real slow. The kind of slow boy walks when his whole heart is dragging behind him on the ground. He came inside. He did not take his shoes off. He walked right past his daddy. He went to his room. He closed the door. He did not slam it. He just closed it soft, like he was trying not to make any noise at all in the whole world. Wendell stood in the hallway holding a dish towel. He waited 1 full minute. He knocked once. No answer. He opened the door anyway. Bertie was sitting on the edge of his bed. His face was wet. He was not making a single sound, just wet eyes and a wet chin. Wendell sat down next to his son. He did not speak for a long time. Then he asked the only question that mattered. "What happened, son?" Bertie did not answer for almost a full minute. Then he whispered the words. He said, "I do not belong." He said, "Boys like me grow up to change tires for a living." He said, "Go back to my biker daddy and his greasy friends." He said the dojo is for real fighters, not for poor kids with no mama. Wendell's hands went very still. The dish towel was still in his right hand. His thumb stopped moving. "Did he say it in front of the other kids?" Bertie nodded slow. "All of them." He made everybody laugh. Wendell sat there for 30 seconds without moving. Then he stood up. He walked across the hallway to his own bedroom. He opened the closet. He reached up to the top shelf. He took down the small wooden box his father had built him. He set it on top of his dresser. He did not open it. Not yet. He went to the kitchen. He grabbed his truck keys. He grabbed his vest off the hook by the door. He looked back at Bertie standing in the hallway, watching him with red eyes. "Daddy, where are you going?" "I am going to go get you that answer, son. The one that man owes you. Daddy, please do not." But Wendell Pickett was already out the door. The Harley Softail roared to life in the front yard. Gravel sprayed under the back tire. Across town, in a strip mall on St. Stephen's Road, inside a dojo that smelled like floor polish and pride, Trent Whitlock was wrapping his hands for the 5 o'clock class. He had no idea that the biggest mistake of his entire life was riding toward him, right now at 60 miles per hour down Highway 45. The ride took 18 minutes. Wendell rode with the wind in his beard. He passed the closed Piggly Wiggly with the empty parking lot and the broken sign. He passed Pleasant Hill Baptist Church, where Pastor Obadiah Green was watering the flower bed out front. Pastor Obadiah looked up and waved. Wendell did not wave back. He did not see anything but the road. He passed Magnolia Cemetery, where Loretta was buried under a small gray stone he visited every Sunday after church. He whispered one short prayer at the cemetery gate. "Lord, let me stay calm. Let me stay calm for that boy." He pulled into the strip mall on St. Stephen's Road. He killed the engine. He sat in the bike for 30 seconds. He looked at the front window of Whitlock Combat Academy. He could see Trent through the glass, wrapping his hands in the center of the ring. Wendell stepped off the bike. He walked toward the door. The bell over the glass door rang as he pushed it open. Every head in the dojo turned. 14 students stopped drilling. They stared. A biker in a leather vest with grease on his jeans did not belong here. This was a clean place, a trophy place, a place where rich folks paid $400 a month to feel tough. Howard Briggs was in the back office on a phone call about new equipment. He did not see Wendell come in. Trent looked Wendell up and down. He smiled the smile of a man who thinks he has just been handed a free gift. He told Wendell the door was behind him, and the bus station was 3 blocks down. The students laughed. Wendell did not move. He stopped at the edge of the mat. He did not step on it. He spoke clear and slow. "I am here about my son. His name is Bertie Pickett. He was in your class for 9 days. Trent pretended to think. He scratched his chin and squinted at the ceiling. He pretended to remember. "Oh, the little fella. Yeah, I remember him. Real soft, real sensitive. Cried in the bathroom on day 3. We had to send a girl in to check on him. A few students laughed, a few did not. One boy in the back, maybe 14 years old, looked at the floor. Wendell took one breath. He let it out slow. He spoke again. I am not here for a fight. I am here for an apology. Not to me, to him. In front of the same kids he got laughed at in front of. That is all I want. Trent threw his head back and laughed loud. He turned in a slow circle so everybody could see his face. An apology. Did you hear that, class? Greasy Biker Daddy wants an apology. He drove all the way down here on his rusty bike to ask me to say sorry to his sensitive little son. He turned back to Wendell. The laughter was gone now. His voice got sharp. Boys like that need to learn that the world does not owe them sorry. The world does not owe them anything. The sooner they figure that out, the better off they will be. I did your boy a favor today. You ought to be thanking me. Wendell did not respond. Trent watched his face. Trent did not see what he wanted to see. No tears, no flinching, no begging, just a man standing there waiting. That made Trent angry. He snapped his fingers at a student near the door. Cade, phone, ring light. Right now, we are about to make a video for the channel. Cade hesitated. He looked at the office door. He looked back at Trent. He grabbed the phone. He grabbed the ring light. He set them up on a tripod. The red light started blinking. Trent positioned himself between Wendell and the camera. He started performing. Folks, today we got a real special guest at Whitlock Combat Academy. We got a deadbeat biker daddy who wants to argue with me about his crybaby son. Let me tell you about this fine gentleman. Worn out leather vest. Smells like he sleeps under a bridge. Probably has not held a real job in years, and he is mad because I would not babysit his soft little boy. A boy whose mama is not even in the picture. Probably ran off because she got tired of looking at the vest. Right, class? Some of the students laughed. Most of them did not. The room had gone quiet at the mention of Bertie's mama. Even one of the older boys near the heavy bag turned his face away. Wendell took 2 steps onto the mat. He did not raise his voice. He spoke very quietly. The whole room had to lean in to hear him. Her name was Loretta Pickett. She died of breast cancer in March of 2014. She was a 3rd-grade teacher at Whitley Elementary for 16 years. Half the folks in this town learned how to read because of her. She is buried at Magnolia Cemetery on Highway 45, Plot 27, Row C. She does not deserve to be in any man's joke. Not yours, not anybody's. Trent shrugged. He smiled at the camera. Dead is dead, biker. Get over it. World keeps spinning. The whole room got very still. From the back office doorway, Howard Briggs came out. He had heard the last part. He had a coffee cup in his hand. He stopped in the doorway. He watched. He had been a trainer for 24 years. He had seen every kind of man walk into a dojo. Drunks, bullies, insurance scammers, tough guys trying to prove something. He knew the look of every one of them. But this biker did not have any of those looks. This biker stood with his feet at exact shoulder width, his weight on the balls of his feet, his hands relaxed but never below his belt, his eyes calm, his breathing slow and even. Howard's stomach started to twist. He had seen that stance before, somewhere, a long time ago. He could not place it yet, but his body was telling him something his mind had not figured out. Trent was just getting warmed up. He walked over to the front counter. He yanked open the bottom drawer. He pulled out 3 thick stacks of cash. $100 bills wrapped in red rubber bands. $20,000 in total. The whole operating budget for next month's lease. He held the stacks up in the air so the camera could see them clear. He walked back across the mat. He waved the cash in Wendell's face. I got a better idea than an apology, biker. I got a real American idea. $20,000 cash. Right here, right now. All you got to do is hit me one time. One clean shot anywhere on my body. I will not even block. 20 grand. For a man who probably has not seen 20 grand in his whole sad little life. Easy money, biker. Take it. Wendell did not reach for the money. He did not look at it. Trent waited. He waited 5 more seconds. Then he threw the stack straight at Wendell's chest. The rubber bands broke. The bills exploded. $100 bills scattered across the mat like leaves in a storm. Students moved closer with their phones. Some were laughing. Some were nervous. Kate adjusted the tripod for a better angle. Pick it up. Hit me one time. Anywhere. 20 grand cash. Easy money for a man who sleeps in a parking lot. That was when something in the room shifted. Wendell did not look at the money. He turned slowly. He walked to the folding chair by the wall. He set his keys down on the chair. He reached up and unsnapped his leather vest. He took it off. He folded it once. He laid it across the chair the way a man lays down something holy. The chrome buckles caught the light. The two patches on the back faced up. Iron cross riders, loving father. He turned back to face Trent. His left boot slid back 6 inches. His right hand opened, his chin tucked. His weight dropped low. His breathing slowed until you could not see his chest move. From the office doorway, Howard Briggs's coffee cup hit the floor. Brown coffee splashed across his shoes and pooled on the wood. He did not look down. He did not move for 2 seconds. Then he started walking fast across the dojo. His face had gone the color of old paper. He grabbed Trent's arm hard. He hissed in his student's ear. "Trent, stop. Stop right now. Step back. Step back, son. You do not know who this man is. Look at his hands. Look at his feet. Look at me, Trent. Listen to me." Trent shook Howard's hand off his arm. He laughed. He was already too far gone. He had a camera rolling. He had students watching. He had $20,000 on the mat. He could not back down now, even if he wanted to. He told Howard to get back in the office. He told Howard he was about to be 20 grand richer just by knocking down one tired biker. For Wendell, standing in that stance, time folded in on itself. He saw Loretta in the hospital bed in the spring of 2014, her hand on his cheek, her voice as thin as paper. "Promise me, baby, promise me you will never let our boy grow up afraid." He saw baby Bertie sleeping on his chest at 3 in the morning, that warm little weight, that small breathing. He saw Master Gunnery Sergeant Festus Mallory in 1998 at Quantico, adjusting his stance with calloused fingers, his voice low and steady. Your body remembers, Pickett, always. Your body never forgets the truth your mind tries to hide. You can put it in a box, you can hide it on a shelf, but the day comes when somebody you love is in trouble, and then your feet remember. Wendell had not stood like this in 15 years. His knees ached. His right shoulder had a permanent click in it from a training injury in 2006. He was 47 years old, but his feet remembered every single inch. Trent charged, big looping haymaker, right hand. The kind of punch you throw when you want to put on a show. The kind that ends bar fights. The kind that knocks soft men out cold. Wendell shifted his weight 1 inch to the left, just 1 inch. The fist sailed past his right ear so close he could feel the wind off the knuckles. Trent's own body weight kept moving forward. Wendell's left hand came up and caught Trent's wrist. He did not grab it. He guided it down in a small, tight circle. At the same time, his right palm came up and tapped the back of Trent's elbow. Not hard, just enough. Trent stumbled 3 steps forward. He almost fell. He caught himself on the ropes of the ring. The whole room went silent. Not the kind of silence after a bad joke. The kind of silence after a car accident. The kind where everybody stops breathing at the same time because their brains have not caught up with what their eyes just saw. Trent turned around. His face was red, not from the contact. From the embarrassment, he bounced on his toes. He shook his arms out. "Lucky," he said. "Lucky shot. Lucky old man." Wendell did not move from the stance. He did not speak. Trent came in again. Faster this time. A jab from the front hand followed by a low roundhouse kick aimed at Wendell's left thigh. A real combination. A trained one. The kind of combination that drops most men. Wendell did not back away from the kick. He stepped into it. His front foot advanced at a 45-degree angle. He closed the distance before the kick could build full power. The kick caught his hip instead of his thigh. Half the impact. Manageable. In the same motion, his right palm came up and struck flat against Trent's chest. Not a slap, not a thud. A deep hollow pop, like dropping a sandbag from a roof. Trent's lungs emptied in one breath. His eyes went wide. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Before Trent could find his air, Wendell's left hand hooked his right shoulder. Wendell's hip turned inward. He executed a textbook hip throw the way Festus Mallory had taught him in the spring of 1999. Trent went up off his feet and came down flat on his back on the mat. The whole building shook. The water bottles on the front counter rattled. A trophy in the glass case fell sideways. For 3 full seconds, nobody made a sound. Then Howard Briggs said it out loud. He said it slow. His voice was shaking. "That is Sergeant Pickett. That is Sergeant First Class Wendell Pickett, United States Marine Corps. He trained my instructor at Quantico in 2003. Lord have mercy. Trent, stay down, son. Just stay down, please." Cade's phone caught every word. Trent did not stay down. Trent rolled over. He got to one knee. He looked up at Wendell. There was no technique left in his eyes. There was no plan. There was just rage. Pure animal rage. He pushed himself up. He charged, arms wide, head down, like a bull running at a fence. Wendell sidestepped 1 step to the right, as Trent's momentum carried him past. Wendell delivered a single ridge hand strike to the side of Trent's neck. Soft tissue target, the vagus nerve, standard McMap knockout technique. Trent's legs buckled. He dropped to both knees, then forward onto his palms. He stayed there on all fours, gasping, unable to stand back up. Wendell stepped back 2 paces. He lowered his hands to his sides. He bowed, deep, respectful. The Bowmaster Gunnery Sergeant, Festus Mallory, had taught him in 1998. Eyes forward, spine straight. The bow that says this is finished. The bow that says no shame. The bow that says I see you as a man even if you did not see me as one. Then Wendell walked to the folding chair. He picked up his vest. He put it on slow. He picked up his keys. He walked toward the front door. He stopped by the entrance where Bertie's gym bag was still sitting on the floor from a week ago. The dojo had never returned it. He picked up the bag. He tucked it under his arm. He pushed the glass door open. The bell rang. He walked out into the Alabama sunshine. Inside the dojo, Howard Briggs kneeled next to Trent. He helped his student sit up. He looked Trent in the eye. His own eyes were wet. "I tried to tell you, son. I tried to tell you." 2 students were crying. One was on the phone with his mother. The $20,000 was still scattered across the mat, like dead leaves nobody wanted to pick up. By midnight, 6 different phones had uploaded 6 different angles of what happened. By Saturday morning, the clips were stitched together and a hashtag called Pritchard Daddy was trending in Alabama. By Sunday night, it was national. Espen reposted a 15-second clip. By Monday morning, the video had been watched 11 million times. Wendell did not see any of it. He had ridden home that Thursday afternoon. He had set Bertie's gym bag down by the front door. He had kneeled in the hallway and pulled his son into a long hug. He had told Bertie the man at the dojo would not be saying anything else to him ever again. He had made grilled cheese sandwiches for supper. He had let Bertie pick the show. They had watched a dinosaur documentary on the old couch. Bertie had fallen asleep against his daddy's shoulder before the second episode finished. Monday morning at 9:42 a.m., a man in a cheap brown suit knocked on the screen door. He handed Wendell a blue envelope. Inside were 14 pages of legal language. Trent Whitlock was suing Wendell for $250,000. Assault, battery, loss of business income, emotional damage. Wendell sat at the kitchen table and read the papers 3 times before he understood them. By Monday afternoon, Trent had gone on mobile local news in a neck brace and a wrist splint he did not need. He cried on camera. He said he was just a small business owner who got attacked by a violent biker in his own dojo. The station ran 46 seconds of edited footage. Everything before Wendell's palm strike had been cut out. The insults, the dead wife joke, the $20,000 thrown at his chest, all gone. The story flipped overnight. Comments turned ugly. Threats started coming to Pleasant Hill Baptist Church. Somebody spray-painted "Thug Biker" on the church sign in red paint. A parent at Bertie's school filed a complaint asking the principal to keep Bertie away from her son. Bertie got pulled out of 2 classes for the rest of the week. He stopped smiling again. Wendell sat at the kitchen table on Tuesday night with the lawsuit papers in front of him. He had $1,800 in the bank. The local legal aid office had a 6-week wait. He stared at the wall. He prayed. The phone rang. A woman's voice on the other end, country accent, sharp and warm at the same time. "Mr. Pickett, my name is Claudette Hargrove. I run a small law office on Old Shell Road in Mobile. I have been riding with the Iron Cross Riders on weekends for the last 6 years. I have watched that video about 20 times. I am taking your case. Not 1 penny. Now you put on a clean shirt and you come see me at 10 in the morning." Claudette Hargrove was 58 years old. 26 years of trial work. She had 3 things Trent's expensive lawyers did not have. She had the truth, she had the Iron Cross Riders, and she had the patience of a woman who had been told no all her life and kept on going. She told Wendell on Wednesday morning that she needed 3 things to win the case. The original, unedited footage from Trent's own phone, other students of Whitlock Combat Academy who had been mistreated, and Wendell's old military records to prove he had no choice but to defend himself when Trent attacked first. The Iron Cross Riders went to work. Word spread fast in Pritchard and Mobile. Within 10 days, 4 former students of the dojo came forward. 3 black boys who had been kicked out under fake reasons. 1 white teenage boy whose mama had pulled him out the year before after she heard Trent use a slur on the training floor. All 4 were willing to testify. Pastor Obadiah Green of Pleasant Hill Baptist made a quiet announcement at Sunday service. He invited any family whose child had been hurt at that dojo to come speak. 6 more families came forward in the next week. Bertie came home from school on a Friday in tears. A boy in his class had told him his daddy was going to prison forever. Bertie sat on the kitchen floor and cried so hard his whole little body shook. He told his daddy maybe they should just say sorry and stop. Maybe it was not worth it. Wendell sat down on the kitchen floor next to his son. He held the boy's face in both his big, calloused hands. He looked Bertie in the eye. "Son, listen to me. We are not stopping. Not because I am angry. Not because I want to hurt anybody. We are not stopping because if we stop now, the next boy walks into that dojo alone with nobody coming for him. We do this for him too. You understand me, son?" Bertie nodded slow. His chin was still trembling. He wrapped both arms around his daddy's neck and held on. The night before the hearing, at 11:51 p.m., Claudette's office email got a message from an address she did not recognize. The subject line was empty. The body of the email was 1 sentence. "He deserves better than what we let happen." Attached was a video file. The full unedited footage from Trent Whitlock's own phone. 31 minutes long, metadata verified, created on the day of the incident, never altered. Claudette stared at her screen for a full minute. Then she printed 3 copies of the evidence chain and went to bed. The hearing was Tuesday morning, Mobile County Courthouse. Courtroom 4C. Wendell wore a borrowed brown suit from Pastor Obadiah. The sleeves were a little short. Bertie sat in the gallery between the pastor and a row of Iron Cross Riders in their vests. The whole back of the courtroom was leather and patches, quiet bearded men with their hands folded in their laps. Trent's lawyer was a polished man named Marshall Kettering. He gave a 15-minute opening, photographs of bruises, a doctor's note about cervical strain, a timeline that painted Wendell as a violent man with a violent past who walked into a dojo to ambush a small business owner. Trent took the stand. He limped to the witness chair. He cried at the right moments. He said he had just been trying to de-escalate the situation when Wendell attacked him. Claudette stood up. She did not have a podium. She walked out into the open space in front of the bench. She buttoned her jacket slow. She let the silence sit for 5 full seconds. Then she went to work. She played 28 clips from Trent's own public YouTube channel, 3 seconds each. In every single clip, Trent insulted a student, pushed a student, slapped a glove out of a student's hand, yelled a slur. The judge watched without speaking. His face was a stone. Then Claudette called Howard Briggs to the stand. The head trainer himself walked in. He did not look at Trent. He raised his right hand. He swore to tell the truth. He testified that Trent had attacked Wendell first. He testified that he himself had tried to stop Trent. He testified that he had recognized Wendell's stance because Wendell had trained his own instructor at Quantico in 2003. The gallery murmured. Trent stared at the table in front of him. Then Claudette called the children, one by one. 3 former students testified about what Trent had said to them, about being called soft, about being called other things, too. The white teenage boy testified about the slurs Trent used on the training floor. He cried while he testified. His mother held his hand from the gallery. The room got very still. Finally, Claudette stood up one more time. She walked to her laptop. She told the judge that an anonymous source had delivered the full original footage from Trent's phone at 11:51 p.m. the night before. She told the judge her digital forensics expert had verified every byte. She played the video, every second, 31 minutes, the insults, the dead wife joke, the $20,000 thrown across Wendell's chest, the whole truth, uncut. Marshall Kettering stood up to object 3 different times. The judge waved him off every time. When the video ended, the judge looked at Marshall Kettering. He spoke slow. "Counselor, did you have this footage during discovery?" Marshall stuttered. He said he had not personally seen it. The judge took his glasses off. He set them on the bench. He spoke each word like he was placing a brick. "I am referring this matter to the State Bar for review. The plaintiff's claims are dismissed with prejudice. This case is closed." He looked at Trent. "Sir, you came to this court asking for justice. You brought a lie instead of the truth. You will leave this courtroom with nothing, not $1, not 1 ounce of sympathy from me." The gavel came down. The sound cracked through the room. Wendell stood up slow. He turned around. Bertie was already running down the aisle. Wendell kneeled in the hallway outside the courtroom and wrapped his arms around his son. He did not cry. He did not smile. He just held that boy. The Iron Cross riders stood around them in a quiet half-circle. Pastor Obadiah put a hand on Wendell's shoulder. A reporter from the local news stepped forward with a microphone. She asked one question. "Mr. Pickett, what do you want people to know after today?" Wendell looked down at Bertie. He looked back up at the camera. He spoke slow. "I want every daddy out there to know it is never too late to stand up for your boy. And I want every boy out there to know your daddy will come for you, even if it costs him everything. That is all I got to say." The fall came fast for Trent Whitlock. YouTube demonetized his channel within 4 days. His supplement sponsor pulled out the same week. The landlord did not renew the Dojo lease. 4 civil suits were filed against him by families of former students. Marshall Kettering was suspended pending State Bar review. By the end of the month, Trent Whitlock had no dojo, no channel, no sponsors, and no lawyer. He moved out of Mobile County. Nobody in Pritchard saw him again. 2 weeks after the hearing, Pastor Obadiah Green walked up the porch steps of the Pickett house on a Saturday morning. He had a set of keys in his hand. He sat down across from Wendell on the porch swing. He handed him the keys. "The Fellowship Hall at Pleasant Hill. It is yours every Saturday morning, free of charge, for as long as you want it. The Lord told me to give them to you last Tuesday night. I am just the delivery man." Wendell stared at the keys in his palm for a long time. He thought about the wooden box on his dresser. He had still not opened it. He nodded once. "Yes, sir, Pastor. Tell the Lord I said thank you." The next Saturday morning at 8 a.m., Wendell walked into the Fellowship Hall at Pleasant Hill Baptist Church. He had expected maybe Bertie and a couple of cousins. 43 people were already there. Boys, girls, 2 single mamas, an old man in a wheelchair. 3 Iron Cross riders in their vests with their tool belts left at the door. A teenage girl named Norma with thick glasses and a quiet smile. They were not there to fight. They were there to stand. Wendell did not give a speech. He stood in front of that room of 43 faces. He spoke 6 words. Left foot back, hands open, breathe. 43 people shifted their weight for the first time in their lives. Bertie became his daddy's helper. He rolled out the mats every Saturday at 7:30. He handed out water bottles. He taught the little kids how to bow before class started. The boy who used to walk with curled shoulders walked tall now. He looked his daddy in the eye when he spoke. He raised his hand in class again. He stopped flinching when somebody moved too fast near him. Bertie Pickett was learning how to stand, not how to fight, how to stand. The movement spread out from Pritchard like ripples in a pond. A group of bikers in Beaumont, Texas started a free Saturday class in a church basement. A retired Marine in Yazoo City, Mississippi started one in his garage. A church in Anniston, Alabama opened their basement to anybody who wanted to come. A barn off Highway 45 had the words "Left Foot Back" painted on the side in white letters 6 feet tall. A letter arrived at Wendell's house in November. The Marine Corps Martial Arts Center of Excellence at Quantico had invited him to come speak to the next class of instructors. The letter was signed by Colonel Festus Mallory, Jr., the son of Master Gunnery Sergeant Festus Mallory. Wendell read the letter twice. He sat on the porch for an hour. He went inside. He picked up the phone. He said yes. That same night, after Bertie went to bed, Wendell walked to his bedroom. He stood in front of the dresser. He looked at the small wooden box his father had built him a long time ago. He had not opened it in 15 years. He laid his big hand flat on the lid. He took a slow breath. He opened it. The black belt was still folded the way he had folded it in March of 2014. He picked it up. He held it in both hands. He carried it out to the front room. He hammered a small nail into the wall above the front door. He hung the black belt on the nail. He stepped back. He looked at it. He whispered something to his wife that nobody else heard. 6 months later, on a Saturday morning in March, the fellowship hall at Pleasant Hill Baptist was full. 43 students in white jizz with bare feet stood in 2 rows. Wendell walked down the line. He stopped at each student. He fixed a stance here. He straightened a collar there. He whispered something only that person could hear. He reached the end of the line. He stopped in front of the teenage girl named Norma, 11 years old, thick glasses, a quiet smile. She had been there every single Saturday for 6 months. Wendell picked up a white belt from the table. He tied it around her waist. He held her shoulders for a moment. You showed up, rain or shine. This belt is not a reward. It is proof that you were stronger than you knew. The room broke into applause. Bertie clapped the loudest. Pastor Obadiah wiped his eyes. Norma's mama cried in the front row. The wooden box at home sat empty on top of the dresser. Its job was done. Wendell turned to the room of 43 students. He looked at every face. He looked at his son, standing in the front row, tall and proud. He said 4 words. Left foot back, begin. Now I want to talk to you for a minute before you go. Standing up for somebody you love is one of the hardest things a person can ever do in this life. It costs you. It costs you sleep. It costs you money. Sometimes it costs you your reputation. The world is really quick to twist the story. The world is real quick to make the protector look like the bully. The world is real quick to cut the video short and run with the lie. But the truth, the whole truth, it always comes out in the end. Always. And the love between a daddy and his child does not care about lawsuits or news cameras or strangers on the internet. That love does what it has to do. Quiet, calm, whatever the cost. So I want you to drop a comment for me right now. Tell me about a father in your life who stood up for somebody when it cost him everything he had. Maybe it was your own daddy. Maybe it was a granddaddy. Maybe it was a stranger who became a father to you when your own would not. Tell me about him. I will read every single comment. If this story moved you, share it with somebody who needs to hear it today. There is a daddy out there right now, sitting in his truck wondering if it is worth it to stand up for his kid. He needs to know it is. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell because next week I am bringing you another story you are not going to forget. And remember, kindness is not weakness, a quiet man is not a soft man, and a father's love can knock down any wall this world tries to build. Left foot back, hands open, breathe. I will see you in the next one.